Hey YouTube, it is League Turnover, and while the Great League Remix, as I'm shooting this video, has not been posted about what is banned, we do know what the Master League Premier looks like. Master League Premier is a level 50 league, but Premier means no legendaries, no mythical, so you're just left with a bunch of more accessible Pokemon, but yes, they do need to be level 50. So here is the rankings. Quite a unique rankings for the Master League Premier. There are some Pokemon that have been meta on this list for a while, like Metagross, Gyarados, Goodra to a certain extent, Dragonite. These have been pretty meta for a while. Rhyperior when it got Mud Slap. Then you get some random ones, not random ones, but like ones that got buffed recently, like Togekiss with the Peck and the Florges with the Chilling Water. And then you get some kind of random ones. Like Scizor seemed random to me until I recognized, like, oh yeah, maybe not with Florges and Togekiss as number 1 and 3. Just having a Bullet Punch user that hits super effective against both seems like a pretty good answer. So it's not surprising that it is up there. So let's just kind of quickly go over everything. Right, Florges was already a good Pokemon. Fairy Wind, Moonblast charges very, very fast. Chilling Water lowers your attack and gives you coverage for, Metagross in particular, steals stuff that would resist the fairy. So being able to lower your opponent's attack once, twice, 3 times, however many times, really can flip a matchup. And Chilling Water is not a great move, but it's still a move that will chip, which makes it a very strong Pokemon to use. Metagross, Shadow Claw. So they had this raid day for Metagross, and with Shadow Claw is like one of the best fast moves in the game with the nice damage and energy combo there. So when you put that in with Metagross that has a Meteor Mash, very, very strong Pokemon there. Earthquake, again, giving you coverage where Steel may be resisted. Not all cases. For example, Meteor Mash Steel is resisted on Gyarados as a flyer, but Gyarados will also resist the Earthquake. But now having the Shadow Claw, at least, you know what, you chip a little more there. So that's why Metagross is going to be strong, resisting Fairy, stuff like that. Overall strong answer. Togekiss, another Fairy. With that Peck, you get to the Aura Sphere, which gives you just a really nice strong move in general. Covers that Steel weakness, like resistances as well. So you hit super effective there. And then Dazzling Gleam is just a harder hitting move. Yes, Dazzling Gleam makes more sense. I know a lot of people run Psy Shock in the Great League just because Togekiss is a little more glass in the Great League. If you run Dazzling Gleam, Aura Sphere, you're going to have like Clodsire you can't throw anything against. So I think Dazzling Gleam makes more sense in the Master League where you're running up against some dragons. And you just want a harder hitting move for neutral situations. A few dragons on here. Goodra at number 5, Dragonite at number 9 and 12. And while Gyarados is not a dragon, it is a water flying, it also has Dragon Breath. So all these Dragon Breath users got reworked, which means you were getting to the moves faster. Goodra getting to Aqua Tails in 9 and Thunder Punch in 10. So really, really quick on the spam there. Very strong. Same thing with Dragonite. Very quick. Tends to Thunder Punch and Superpower. Just a little more glassy than the Goodra, but play different roles, right? Dragonite will be more attack heavy. Gyarados, same thing. Not a dragon, but with that Dragon Breath, getting to Aqua Tails in 9 and Crunch in 12. Definitely a strong Pokemon to spam while not being weak to Fairy in yourself, despite having the Dragon Breath. Speak about Fairy, Primarina is one of the, I think one of the main charmers in this meta. So you have a couple fairies at the top. The strength about Primarina is that you offset that steel weakness. So Scizor with Bullet Punch would actually be neutral. That being said, Charm would be resisted, so you're still probably in a bad matchup there. But Charm's hard hitting, but got reworked. So now you're getting to the Hydro Cannons in only 15, right? So not bad. The problem with Charmers is you always took a while to get to. Primarina got a little better when it got Hydro Cannon, but it was still a bit slow. But now with the reworked Charm, a little less damage on Charm, but a little quicker on the charge, which means you're getting to the Hydro Cannons faster, which is pretty good. Charm still chip, and then a Hydro Cannon is a really nice move in general to have. Goldango is going to be an interesting one. I think it's going to act as like a quasi-safe swap because you resist your Steel. So you resist the Fairy moves, and you resist the dragon moves while still having really nice cover moves. Hex, fast charging. Still a little slow to get the charge move, but 15 to a Shadow Ball, 18 to a Focus Blast. Gives you a lot of coverage in this meta. So it should be like a decently strong Pokemon. Scizor, I just kind of mentioned, like Florges and Togekiss are number 1 and 3. and you also resist Dragon and Charm as a Steel, right? So between those two combo, just makes sense there. Rhyperior Mud Slap user. So the Mud Slap on Rhyperior has made it much stronger. Obviously, Mud Slap is a great fast move, a lot of damage, but you're still getting to like a Rock Wrecker, which is like a nuke in 15 turns. So that combo there is fantastic. Slap the Steels, Rock Wrecker, everything, literally everything else. Avalugg, Ice Fang, Avalanche, Body Slam. Again, don't love Body Slam, but you know, having an ice type move for these dragons, right? Gudra, Rhyperior, Gudra Dragonite, and then Rhyperior as like the ground, and you have a couple of grounds below here, like an Ursaluna, and Venusaur and grass. So having ice will definitely have some play in this meta. So that is where that will play. Glycopod, I'm guessing, is going to play similar to how it plays in Great League as a safe swap, right? There is Magnezone, because I have Magnezone on like 1 or 2 teams, but outside of that, you can just safe swap this and you kind of spam the Aqua Jets or X-Scissor depending on what you see. And just the spamming this should carry this Pokemon. Ursaluna, I don't like Tackle as a fast move. It's quite slow. It does have Swift, and Swift only takes 12 to get to, and you're half normal typing, so you do get same type attack bonus on that. So maybe same type attack bonus on Tackle, same type attack bonus on Swift. You know, maybe it makes you a little stronger. High horsepower does take 20 to get to, but Ursaluna is very tanky, so maybe you'll get to that and have no problem with that. Maybe Swift just acts as a bait move. I have to see it in action. And then Venusaur, you know, you're half poison, so you resist the fairy moves. On Florges, you'll resist everything because you resist the fairy and the water. You have Sludge, which is a quicker move and hits super effectively against the fairies. You have just Frenzy Plant, which is going to just hit so hard. Even in like bad matchups, it hits just so hard. So it should have a lot of play in this meta. But as you can see with the repeats, Metagross repeated twice, Dragonite repeated twice, Rhyperior repeated twice, Ursaluna repeated twice, Scizor repeated twice. In this top 20, Gyarados repeated twice. All of a sudden that 20 gets down to like 12, 13 very quick, and you start to feel that when you start to team build. So like when I started putting in like the Pokemon into the teams, it's like, oh, what's the top Pokemon? Florges, okay. You know, Florges doesn't look good in the paper and the ones like the even shield, even energy, one shield scenario, but like when you then lower your opponent's attack for its second time, third time, fourth time, it really changes up how you play that matchup. So I'm not worried about the sims there. But you know, you're going to be weak to steel, so you want to cover that weakness. And what's a good way to cover it? Well, Metagross is as a steel itself is going to be fantastic there. And look at Metagross now. Metagross was like the go-to answer everywhere when I was like putting Pokemon. It's like, Florges, who do I build with? Metagross. Gyarados, who do I build with? Metagross. Like literally almost did not matter what Pokemon I put in. The answer was Metagross. So I would expect a healthy dose of Metagross. You know, you can put in like a Mud Slap user to hit super effective with the ground. You can hit fire. Skeldurge is an option. It's not on this. Is it on here, the lower list? No. Skeldurge is actually a pretty good option. I was actually surprised Shadow Annihilate, even though you take super effective from the claws, is an answer. So there's answers to Metagross. As you see, Gyarados up there just because you can spam the crunches very quick, and Bullet Punch and Earthquake are resisted. So that's why Gyarados is going to win that matchup. So you have options. But those two are very strong. And then another Pokemon that's just always been strong in this meta is Gyarados. So can you truly just put like the 3 of the top like 4 Pokemon in this meta together? Yeah, you can. There's just so much safety in Pokemon that have really nice fast moves. Fairy Wind, Shadow Claw, Dragon Breath with good spammy hard-hitting charge moves. So they will just sort of work well together. But if you don't want to use the top Pokemon, there's other options. Togekiss is the other fairy on there. You know, it gives you a hard-hitting move in Aura Sphere and Dazzling Gleam, which is a nice move. Peck, just as a neutral, fast charging, but also decently hitting fast move. Again, you got to cover your steel weakness. You can see your biggest loss to Togekiss there. So I'm like, okay, let's find an answer to the steals. And I was like, the Mud Slap user, okay. Could go Rhyperior. but I went with Skeldurge. Skeldurge is an Incinerate user. As you can see, not only does it beat Metagross as the Incinerate user, but as a fire, you resist Fairy. So pretty nice combo there, taking out a lot of the top meta. You know, what are your biggest weaknesses? Things that resist fire. So primarily in this meta, water and dragon. You know, you have Togekiss on the lead for the dragon, so I'm not too worried about that. It's more about the water Pokemon. So Goodra is the sort of de facto safe swap and a very just spammy Pokemon, bulky Pokemon, and something that can kind of cover that weaknesses too, where like Togekiss is, again, Magnezone is on this list somewhere. Togekiss weak to electric, you can cover that with Goodra. So Goodra just seems like a pretty nice, safe-ish Pokemon to use in the mid game there. And so then I went Scissor first, I believe. I'm like, okay, I know Scissor's gonna deal with all these top Pokemon, like the fairies, and you gotta watch your fire weakness. So then I'm like, okay, I know there's some fires in this meta, but that's the only weakness. What's the best answer to fire? You know, water or dragon. So you can put in you can put in other dragons here. I put in Goodra just because I think it's the top ranked one. You can put in Dragonite. What else? There's Salamence down there. You can put that in if you really want. Or I think you can get away with like Primarina. The only problem with Primarina is that it's a charm user. So, you know, if you go against a fire, charm is resisted. That's why I think you're safer using Goodra. You can also, to a certain extent, use Gyarados, because Gyarados has that Dragon Breath, but is also resist the fire. But it's an ABB style team, so I would use Metagross again, very, very safe as the safe swap. Metagross as a safe swap, try and draw out the fire, try and draw out the Mud Slap user, whatever sort of beats you, beat it with Goodra, and then have the Scizor, only weak to fire, sort of roam free in the back there, trying to save shields. I like, if I was gonna play that team, I'd try to get shields with Metagross, just kind of take damage on the Goodra and try and grab shield, and then try and sweep with Scizor if you can. But Rhyperior, Gyarados, Goldengo. So this is trying a couple of Pokemon that I think may have some play in the meta. You know, the Mud Slap user with Rock Wrecker in Rhyperior. So it doesn't have a lot of wins on the top. Yeah, you know, it doesn't have a lot of wins, but it doesn't have a ton of hard losses in the top meta either. Just because Mud Slap, Rock Wrecker, that combo alone should keep you in almost any matchup. But tried to cover some of the weaknesses. And I tried to do that with Goldango, and then I needed a safe swap and safe swap to kind of fill in some of the blanks here. And they recommended Gyarados, which makes sense, right? That Dragon Breath. Gyarados was already one of the top Pokemon in this meta, and having the rework of the Dragon Breath, I think, only makes Gyarados stronger in this meta. And then go a little off board. I think this is where Magnezone comes in. Yeah, so I started with like, okay, I know Primarina is sort of top ranked as a charm user. Let's go with that. Then I'm like, okay, if you're gonna be a charm user, you're gonna have problems against things that resist charm, mostly steel. So I covered the steel weakness with Annihilate, because Annihilate with that counter Rage Fist boost, you can just kind of get through a lot of those matchups. And then I was just kind of looking like, okay, where am I going to be my big weaknesses? Like Metagross is still going to be kind of a big issue. Togekiss here, so you need something to deal with that. And they recommended Magnezone. So you know what? Again, Steel has a lot of play in this meta, just because this meta is dominated by Fairy and Dragon, right? Florges is number 1, Fairy. Metagross 2 here, Steel. Togekiss 3, Fairy. Goodra, Dragon. Gyarados, Dragon user. Primarina, Fairy. Goldango, Steel. Scizor, Steel. Dragonite, Dragon, right? So the Core Breaker is stuff that can Core Break Fairy and Dragon. And one of the things that can Core Break Fairy and Dragon is going to be Steel, because Steel resists both. So that's why I think Magnezone is going to have some sort of sneaky play, because you're just resisting a lot of the fast moves, and Scissors, like with the bullet punch there, you resist a lot of the fast moves here, while still outputting a lot of damage with that Volt Switch and then potential Wild Charge there to really put pressure on a lot of these Pokemon. Even Dragons really don't, like, you can see you lose to Goodra because Dragons resist electric, but even so, Wild Charging an electric Pokemon, they're not going to be happy taking that move, that's for sure. So we could see some sneaky play there. So I did put it in a poll, what are you guys playing this week? And as I'm filming this video the night before here, it's like 75% to 25% for Great League Remix. We don't have the Great League Remix, as you saw in my video this morning. Again, I had to shoot at night. I'm in the office today, so I don't have the opportunity to shoot today, but the Great League Remix as of 10 p.m. is not posted yet. So we have, what, 6 hours difference, so 18 hours before Great League Remix goes live. When you're watching this video, less than 3. So hopefully it's posted by then. What I did in the video this morning with the Great League Remix was I just kind of showed you how to put them in to PVPOKE to get your own rankings. And I made my best guess based on what I know is the meta, like Gastrodon, Scizor, Marowak. I just made my best guess of, like, I think these Pokemon are going to be banned. What would it look like? And then you kind of showed you how to do this and what the rankings may be. So take a look at that. And then when we do know what the ban list is, I'll start with my first team Wednesday morning while doing like the first part of sort of rankings, and then the second part of it was team, like the team I used and what you could potentially use. So stay tuned for that tomorrow, but you can go check out that video this morning. Anyways, that is it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.